Some people assume that the kings and queens described in the book of Isaiah are the same group as the 144,000 in the book of Revelation. But when we slow down and read the text carefully, that assumption completely falls apart. Not only are these two groups different, the Bible goes out of its way to keep them separate. Today, we're going to let Scripture speak for itself and show why the kings and queens of Isaiah cannot be the 144,000 in the book of Revelation. Who are the kings and queens in Isaiah? In Isaiah chapter 49, verse 23, we read, "Kings shall be your foster fathers, and their queens your nursing mothers." And again in Isaiah chapter 60, "Nations shall come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your rising." According to Isaiah, these kings and queens come from the nations, exist outside of Zion, approach Israel, serve Israel, bring tribute and wealth. These are Gentile rulers, political leaders who remain nations, not Israelites. Who are the 144,000 in Revelation? Let's turn to Revelation chapter 7. Verse 4 says, "I heard the number of the sealed, 144,000, sealed from every tribe of the sons of Israel." Not nations, not kings, Israel. Revelation chapter 14 gives us even more detail. It says, "These are the ones who were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. They were redeemed from mankind as firstfruits to God and the Lamb." The 144,000 are male priests, not queens. This detail is critical. Revelation explicitly describes the 144,000 as male, virginal, consecrated, first fruits. The phrase "not defiled with women" only works if the group is male. This is priestly purity language, not symbolic royalty language. Queens are never described this way in Scripture. Priests are. Let's put the two groups side by side. Isaiah's kings and queens are from the nations, are political rulers, bring tribute, serve Israel, include women. Revelation's 144,000 are Israelites, are sealed servants, are male, are virginal, are first fruits, stand with the Lamb on Mount Zion. These are not the same group, not the same role, not the same covenant function. Revelation itself confirms this separation. In Revelation chapter 21 we read, "The nations will walk by its light, and the kings of the earth will bring their glory into it." Notice, nations still exist, kings still exist, they are still bringing glory. They are not the inner priestly group. If the kings were the 144,000, this language would make no sense. The confusion happens when we flatten biblical categories. Scripture maintains clear distinctions between Israel and the nations, priests and kings, servants and rulers, inner sanctuary and outer courts. Unity in Scripture does not mean sameness. The Bible is clear. The kings and queens in Isaiah are Gentile rulers. The 144,000 in Revelation are male Israelite priests. They exist at the same time, they serve different purposes, and Revelation never merges them. Isaiah isn't overwritten by Revelation, it's fulfilled. There's another detail in Isaiah that makes the difference unmistakable, and it's often overlooked. In Isaiah 4:9-23, the same verse that mentions kings and queens, we read this, "Kings shall be your foster fathers, and their queens your nursing mothers. They shall bow down to you with their faces to the ground and lick the dust of your feet." This is not exaltation language, this is submission language. The ancient world, dust imagery always signals humbling, bowing low, acknowledging superiority, accepting subordination. To lick the dust of someone's feet is not symbolic equality, it is acknowledged inferiority. The kings and queens are not being crowned here, they are being lowered. Now compare that with how the 144,000 are described in Revelation. They stand with the Lamb, are sealed, are called first fruits, are redeemed, are not bowing at anyone's feet. No one is kicking dust at the feet of the 144,000. Instead, they are elevated, consecrated, and positioned in proximity to divine authority. Isaiah's kings and queens bow down, touch the dust, are humbled, acknowledge Israel's elevation. Revelation's 144,000 stand upright, are sealed, are consecrated, serve near the Lamb. These are opposite postures. When all the text is allowed to speak, the picture is clear. Isaiah's kings and queens are Gentile rulers. They are humbled, not exalted. They bow to Israel, they acknowledge God's rule, they remain nations. The 144,000 are something else entirely, male, Israelite, priestly, consecrated, standing with the Lamb. You cannot turn a group that licks the dust of Israel's feet into a group that stands exalted on Mount Zion. Scripture doesn't blur that line. It draws it boldly. At this point, some people object and say, the 144,000 don't have to be male, some can be female. They're only called virgins because they're not with the whore of Babylon. That sounds reasonable at first, but it breaks down when we actually read the text. Revelation has no problem naming Babylon directly. Babylon is explicitly described in Revelation 17 and 18 as a woman, a whore, a city, a corrupt system. When Revelation means Babylon, it says Babylon. But when the 144,000 are described in Revelation 14, Babylon is not mentioned at all. Revelation 14:4 says, "These are the ones who are not defiled with women, for they are virgins." This sentence only works if the subjects are male. Sexual contact with women would constitute defilement. Virginity is being defined biologically, not metaphorically. If the group were mixed gender or female, the wording would be incoherent. The defilement logic would collapse. The phrase with women would make no sense. Revelation is careful with its imagery. This is not accidental phrasing. If Revelation wanted to say, they did not commit idolatry with Babylon, it already has language for that: adultery, fornication, idolatry, drinking her cup, sharing in her sins. Revelation uses that language for everyone else. But it does not use it for the 144,000. Instead, it switches to priestly purity language. In the Bible, when men are called virgins, it is almost always consecrational, temple-oriented. This is the same category as priests abstaining during service, holy war purity, first fruits offerings. That matches exactly how the 144,000 are described: sealed, first fruits, standing on Mount Zion, following the Lamb wherever he goes. This is temple imagery, not marriage imagery. Revelation already has a bride, and it isn't the 144,000. Revelation does include a bride. The bride appears later as the New Jerusalem, a corporate people prepared for union. The 144,000 are never called the bride. They are never called queens. They are never enthroned. They are called servants, first fruits, virgins, followers. Those are priestly titles, not spousal ones. Revelation calls all faithful people to come out of Babylon. If virgin only meant not with Babylon, then the great multitude would also be called virgins. The saints would all share the same designation. The term would lose all specificity. But Revelation reserves this language only for the 144,000. That tells us it is describing a distinct role, not a general moral category. The 144,000 are not called virgins only because they avoided Babylon. The text shows they are male, Israelite, consecrated, priestly, first fruits, positioned near the Lamb. Babylon imagery explains idolatry. Virgin imagery explains priestly purity. Revelation uses both, and it never confuses the two. When Revelation wants symbolism, it signals it clearly. When it wants precision, it gives it. The 144,000 are precision.